because I worked hard to be in the space that I'm in. I deserve it. I'm just gonna say that.
Find some peace, I let my intuition speak. Get misguided, but I always end up where I'm supposed to be. Put my faith and trust in God and do my part, so we gon' see. In a broken heart, they never give me pain. My nigga caught me by surprise. I can see you hate me through your eyes. I already know the truth about the shit, so tell me lies. Try to do the damn impossible, don't know.
Oh, I'm not this or I'm not that, and it's kind of like how being depressed is. People don't want to be depressed, but sometimes you just are. You know what I mean? Yeah, for real.
Gonna tell me lies. Go ahead, gonna tell me lies. Not surprised. Go ahead, gonna tell me lies. Go ahead, gonna tell me lies.
Hi everyone, I'm Jada and welcome to the 4th episode of Let's Be Honest. Before we start the show today, I have something special coming up for you. So I am opening up the Truth Bowl to you, so you will have the opportunity to ask me any question or questions, big or small, that you might have for me, featured in the next episode. So please stay tuned on, or stay on the lookout for the instructions for how to do that. So let me stop worrying about the future and focus on the present. Today's episode quote is, "You spend most of your life inside your head. Make it a nice place to be." So today we're going to be talking about mental health. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I debated if this was a topic that I wanted to touch on, simply because I didn't know if I wanted to revisit certain places, but I feel like it's important to talk about. I've been seeing suicide rates getting higher and higher and the ages getting lower, and so clearly there's a disconnect somewhere. One thing I do want to say is I'm super proud of the people of this generation, really, especially in the Black community, being big on breaking generational curses, being open about seeking help, whether that be via counseling, peer groups, however, and really shining light on self-care and help and healing. Life will knock you all the way down. Anybody who has lived even just a little bit will tell you that's all facts. From the outside looking in, I had no reason to be sad. I really didn't give a reason for you to think that I was. But even with all the things that I had going on for myself, nothing really alleviated the feeling of depression and loneliness. Myself, I experienced depression for a very long time. I would say a good 10 years. That's probably why you'll see me most of the time laughing, just because I worked hard to be in the space that I'm in. I deserve it. I'm just gonna say that. The sadness of it all really kind of came in spurts, just because I was filling my time out with very temporary highs, and when those things went away or they didn't work out, I was back to where I started. So I was mostly, I would say, distracting rather than healing. I remember one time I had went to Dave & Buster's with my brother, cousin, and some friends. And normally when I went to these things, I would just go with my brother. He's my road dog. But at this time, he had a girlfriend. So she came with us, and we had met up with the other people. And we were in the lobby just standing. And it was about maybe like 3 or 4 couples. And we were standing in a circle. And I remember I looked around the circle, and I had never felt so alone in my entire life. All these feelings just kind of came over me, and I had to walk away, go to the bathroom, and I remember crying so hard. And just putting this out there, nobody did anything to me. Nobody made me feel like I was excluded, anything like that. It was just that I was just triggered, clearly. So I got myself together and I walked out and act like nothing had happened. To my friends and my family, I'm looked at as being a certain kind of strength. And while I'm honored to be there for them and I respect that they value my input, there are moments that things are put onto my table where there is no room and nobody checks in. I feel like a lot of times people just kind of like, she's all right. She'll figure it out. She's strong. But as strong of a person that I am, or you think I am, I can break. I have broke. And whether I knew it or not, that night at Dave & Buster's was like a really true sign as to where I was mentally. Everything that lived in my head and my heart was coming up to the surface, and it really kind of forced me to have to deal with it to the point where I'm in a public bathroom crying. I wholeheartedly believe in God. I know personally what God can do, but I know very well that there are moments that I gave my all to God praying, and I walked away still feeling empty. So I say that all to say that faith without work is dead. Please, please, please use the tools that are put into place. Don't be ashamed about helping yourself. Anybody who cares about you will never make you feel any type of way. You don't have to do it by yourself. I know your mind and everything tells you that you do, but you really, really don't. Be open and honest about your feelings. Trust me, they're valid. Check on your strong friends. And above any and everything, be kind, because you really don't know what it took for that person to be standing right next to you. And that's pretty much what I have to say about that. All right, that's enough before I start crying on camera, y'all. We're going to keep it cute. So, today I've invited two people who have real knowledge on psychology. I needed some professionals today, y'all, to give their insight on and maybe, just maybe, give some tips on mental health. One you may be familiar with, the other you will be very, very soon. So just hang tight. I'm going to go get them.
A broken heart, they never give me pay. My nigga call me by surprise.
Welcome, guys. I'm going to let you introduce yourselves.
Hello, my name is Ricky Rover. I'm from Elizabeth, New Jersey. I do basketball. I rap, produce, engineer, all of that stuff. Yeah.
My name is Malika.
Again.
I'm back.
So today's topic is mental health. So both of you all have studied psychology. So my question, like my big question is, as two people who have studied the mind, when you guys go through things, is it easier? Or is the process the same?
It kind of depends on the situation, I think. I go through mine differently, you know. Like, I have my methods and my, you know, scripted stuff, but sometimes you can't go scripted with, you know, dealing with certain situations or whatever it is. So, I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
Kinda, but, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like my overall process of dealing with stuff is different. Like, I have more patience, and I try to see the different perspectives more than I did before.
True.
But I feel like I have my own therapist in addition to being a therapist.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like I find
That's
myself
like a thing. Every
Yeah.
therapist has a
they all
therapist.
have their own-
Oh, seriously?
It's a
Yeah,
whole
it's
I didn't
like a
know
whole thing.
that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
because
whole
you gotta unleash your own stuff,
Mhm.
and in addition to the stuff that you're like bringing on all week,
Right.
like from other people, like it's kind of like you can't have your own stuff and everybody else's stuff at the same time, so you gotta
Absolutely.
release. So when
That's a
my
lot of
therapist,
energy.
yeah,
It is.
exactly.
Yeah.
It is,
So
it
my
is.
therapist, I find myself like doing my own therapy because like once I talk it through, I'm like, oh, okay, like I got it, and she's like,
Right. So do they tell y'all to like take these things home?
huh?
Like these certain tips home?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they kind of like it's, in the program that I was in particular, like they really stress like self-care and like forcing you to kind of like be aware of your own stuff. So like you're not unaware of it if it comes up in the session. Like you don't feel triggered, but at the same time it's like it's hard to kind of put it into practice at the moment because like
Right.
if somebody making you mad, you can be like.
Yeah, you're not gonna want to be thinking about calming yourself.
Right,
down.
and it all
At the
goes out the
time that you're
window.
doing that, yeah.
Exactly.
All of that is going out the window.
So
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna go straight into the truth booth. I'm not gonna let y'all give everything.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask one of y'all to set a timer. Wait, first, do y'all know the rules?
I know.
I don't know the rules, so somebody
Okay.
gotta explain it to me.
So it's super simple. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take turns picking questions.
Okay.
For the questions, you pretty much have to answer. If you don't want to, someone in the group can save you, but you can't ask them and they can't ask you.
Oh wow.
And that's it.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm excited though. For,
All right, so let's start.
yeah. Ladies going first?
No,
or-
you're gonna go
Oh,
first. You're the
that's
only one who hasn't
crazy.
been here.
That's crazy. All right, I'll pick the top. Have you ever been in counseling yourself? If no, would you ever?
I kind of answered that.
Yeah. Yeah, I have been in counseling. I've been in therapy before, a couple of times for different situations. One when I was younger, for a issue with seeing certain things that I shouldn't have saw. And then one is like a little bit older when I had like just depressed and just worrying about things that I can't control. So just simple stuff. But yeah, I did get some counseling. It helps. It helps. It's not talked about enough, I don't think. Like, a lot of people, I think, should talk about it a little bit more, because I think a lot of people need help, like, a lot. You know
Especially in the black community, I feel like.
Yeah, especially in the black community. You know, people see things every day and think it's fine, you know, until it's not fine, so. But, yeah. Wow, that was deep.
Already? You didn't even say
Y'all got
one question.
I gotta keep going, or I gotta pass? All right, cool.
You're on the hot seat for now.
Thank you.
What is your purpose in life?
Ooh,
that's deep.
That is.
Okay.
Y'all got some good questions in here.
I did that.
Yeah. Yes, that's
I feel like my purpose in life, I don't know, I just want to help people as much as possible, and I feel like the path that I've chosen is good for that, because like you can't change people, but there are moments in your life where you can remember where there was a person that kind of changed the course of your life, and like whether it was good or bad, like there's always going to be that person. So I want to try to be that person as much as possible for people who feel like there's nobody else, there's nothing else, and like so like part of what I do a lot is like depression, cutting, and suicidality,
right.
And it's like it's really important to have that one person, because if you in your mind you're thinking about there's nobody else, and like when you look at that one person, you're like, all right, this person got me, maybe it's not as bad, like maybe I could do it, like that type of thing. So I feel like my purpose in life is like to try to give as much as possible, because a lot of people put into me.
That's dope.
Yeah. That definitely is
really nice.
a real, like a dope ass purpose.
Yeah, for real, for real.
Look at you. Okay. Alright. Watch I get some extra spicy. Alright, so I have, what role does social media play in mental health?
Oh gosh.
I feel like
I'm glad I didn't get that question.
I feel like it's a place where people kind of look for validation. I feel like if you're doing something that you want people to see and it's good enough and people kind of hate on you and they ignore you, you almost feel like, all right, well, maybe it's not as great as I think it is. Yeah. Or if you're the type of person who just likes attention, it's giving you that extra push. So, I mean, it makes you go crazy because you're thinking about too many opinions, too many things. I almost always have to go on the social media fast just because I don't want to know what's going on. I don't want to know nobody's business. Like, yeah.
True. I do not like social media. I gotta say,
I don't either.
I hate it so much. I hate it so much. I mean, it's good for connecting, but I do not like it at all.
Yeah, because it starts to like spill into your
personal life.
Yeah,
like you be sitting there doubting yourself because somebody that you probably haven't even met doesn't even like acknowledge, or just it's just weird stuff. Yeah. I do not like it at all. But I mean, it has its good purposes, but so it's my turn. I gotta.
You're back on the hot seat.
Watch it be something out of bounds. Does a dating relationship help or hinder you when healing? Oh wow.
That's a really good question.
It depends. It really depends. Like I always play devil's advocate with certain questions like this, because it's like it can help you, because sometimes having a partner or being in a relationship, it releases some of the stress and the tension, because you know if you can talk to that person, hopefully they're not judging you, or they're not like, you know, getting on you about certain things. So, but then sometimes it hurts because you don't want to put that pressure on that person because you like them so much, or because you love them so much. So it's sometimes you kind of hold back just because it's like, I don't want to talk about it because you dealing with your own things and I'm dealing with my own things, and I don't want to put that pressure on you. So it's a yes and no. Like I see now I'm gonna be saying yes and no to a lot of these questions, to a lot of these damn questions, for real. But yeah, like I said, it's a yes and no, because relationships sometimes help, but if you really, really love that person, and like for me, I know I'm protective, so I hold back certain bad energies because I know I don't want to affect that person next to me. Even when my family is the same thing. So, yeah. You got some good questions. I don't know what you was doing when you was writing these questions. But you was on something.
Okay. What are some signs of depression? We were just talking about this.
Yeah.
Okay. So
That's a good question.
it is a good question because it's like there are certain signs that are like kind of across the board that most people exhibit. Like if you have changes in your sleep pattern, like you sleeping too much or you sleeping too little, or if you have changes in your eating patterns, like you're eating too much, you're eating too little, you find yourself snacking in the middle of the night, those types of things. But in reality, it's kind of just about knowing the person. So like if you see that they're not doing the same things that they used to do, like if like I'm a hermit and I don't go out anyway, then like that's not going to be a sign of depression. But if you are somebody that's outgoing and you enjoy being around people, and then you start to realize like they're saying no every time you invite them out, like that might be a sign. So it's like it really depends on who the person is and how well you know them, because if anything can be a sign if it's out of their normal character, if it's out of their normal routine, and if like you're the type of person who's like, I'm gonna seize the day, and then all of a sudden you like, I don't want to like, so it's really about like the type of person you are. But there are like certain signs like the eating habits, the sleeping habits, withdrawing.
Do you think it's the responsibility of the people around you or the people who care about you to notice that? Or should it be like they have to come forward?
I feel like responsibility is a strong word. I wouldn't say responsibility because you don't know what the other person is dealing with too. So you don't want to put that onto somebody else. Like, oh, I have to pay attention because like what if they're depressed?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like when you really love somebody, you really care about them, you start to notice that they're being weird, or you start to notice if something's off. So like just kind of having a conversation with them, like, are you good? Like you need me? Like I'm here, type of thing. But it doesn't
Give
have
that
to
little
be,
hint, you know.
Exactly.
You know, sometimes coming off too strong, they get offended, or.
Exactly.
And I was just getting ready to add, sometimes like getting depressed or noticing signs that someone is depressed can be someone being extra happy. Like I have a friend that when he gets like really, really happy or excited, I know that it might be a downslide to that. You know what I mean? So sometimes I pay attention to those things like that. Like, and I know he probably doesn't notice it, but like when he's like extra, like, yeah, let's do this, that, like I know it might, like if something happens, it might be
and
a
that's
huge
another thing
downslide.
too. Like the people who are like they reach out more when they're depressed. Like if they hit you up all the time and they don't usually hit you up that often, like that might be a sign that's saying like they're trying to reach out to like get you to notice something. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like it's really about like who the person is. Like you said, like just really knowing who they are and like noticing if something is off about what their usual character is and then how they're presenting right now. Yeah. But I wouldn't say that it's the responsibility because I feel like that's putting a lot of pressure on other people.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, if you do notice it, if you're not in the capacity to kind of give what they need, then try to figure out what they do need to refer them to somebody else who needs it. Because depression is such a construct that people are kind of like, they don't want to be depressed. Like, being depressed is bad. Like, I'm not depressed. Like, and I have clients that tell me all the time, like, I'm not really depressed, but, and they tell me all the symptoms of being depressed. So it's like, it's such a negative construct for people to be like, oh, you're depressed. So like, not even voicing the word, but realizing that you are feeling some type of way. Yeah. You're feeling off, and that's okay.
I was telling my friend a couple of days ago because we was talking about the actual word depressed, and it's like, for you know, like men and women, it's like saying the word depressed is like saying the word you're scared. Like people, they'll be like, oh, I'm not scared. Like you automatically think that you're like, oh, I'm not this or I'm not that. And it's kind of like how being depressed is. People don't want to be depressed, but sometimes you just are. You know what I mean? Yeah, for real. For real. Yeah.
It says, what does a mentally healthy person look like to you?
What is that? What was that?
Honestly,
That's crazy.
I really don't have an answer for that because I feel like say if your friend was my friend and he's like happy and he's excited, I would be thinking like, oh, you good, but you just don't know what somebody's going through. So really, you don't know what. Well, I don't know what a mentally healthy person looks like.
I think it's like, I don't think there is a such thing as a mentally healthy person. Like, every person
is anybody
has
ever
their,
100%?
Exactly. Like, every person has their things where, like, I have people who come to me all the time, especially right now with the pandemic and everything that's happening, and, like, they're like, well, I don't really have any problems, but, like, I just felt like I need to talk to somebody. Like, you don't have to have problems to seek therapy. Like, you don't have to be, like, having something that you're holding on to from childhood to be like, let me go talk to somebody. Like,
people think that if you need therapy, you have to have, like, this traumatic issue when something crazy happened. Like, That's not it. You can just actually want to talk to somebody and have them not judge you or have them just listen and not
have to
have a different perspective probably than your friends or your mom or your dad or etc. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily that you have to like you need help. Like sometimes you just want to chill and talk. For real.
To somebody who don't know me.
Exactly.
But it's just funny. Like that word therapy is so like sensitive now, and I don't know why. But
a lot of words for mental health are like you don't want to be that guy who's like depressed or has something wrong or be labeled as something that you're not. Like, even like a lot of the talk that we have around like the professionals that I know is like when you are like when you have a diagnosis, right? So like if you're depressed as you're not depressed, if you're diagnosed as depressed or you're diagnosed as anxious or you're diagnosed whatever, we don't say like this person is blah blah blah. We say like this person is struggling with blah blah blah. Like even for people who are struggling with addiction, you don't say like the person is addicted because their whole person isn't addicted. They're struggling with the addiction. So it's like that whole like negative connotation of if you have it, then you are it. That's not it. Like you're struggling with it. You didn't always struggle with it, so you're not always it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing that people struggle with mental health.
Right. True. Definitely.
Can't fix nothing you don't acknowledge though.
Very true.
That is true. It's just tricky. Like mental health is just really tricky. I think again, like it needs to be talked about more because I think that's why people are so sensitive of the topic. Like. You know, and nobody wants to be depressed, but you just might be, and that means you might need help. Like,
right, and that's okay.
You know? It's okay. Like it's not a problem. Like it's not like you're different from everybody else in this world because it's a lot of people that have been through traumas. It's a lot of people that hasn't been through traumas, but they still need help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just I don't know. It needs to be talked about more though. For what we got here. What are the best parts about you? Wow.
That's a good question.
I think one of the best parts about me is that. Okay, so is it from what kind of perspective? Is it coming from like somebody else looking at me or just myself? Like what's that? Okay. All right, so
whichever way you think is the best answer.
I think the best parts about me is that I analyze and I read. I think that's one of the best parts about me, that I can analyze people and read people and kind of like just pinpoint certain things that I know other people don't get just by me looking and like analyzing and just kind of like focusing, you know, on just the situation or reading a room soon as I walk in or just, you know, little things. I think that's one of the best parts.
So what would be what other people say?
I think other people would say that I don't know, like I think I'm a comfortable person. Like I don't pressure people. I'm not about to, you know, do extra. I'm just me. Like I think people would say I'm just me. Like I don't have a certain personality that sticks out. I'm just kind of like, you know, a win. Like I just, you know, I'm cool. I'm not trying to do too much. Like I'm not trying to do too much. Like I don't force people to do things. I just want everybody to win that's around me. I think that's what is. I give off a certain energy that I just want everybody to win. You know, I think that's it. So yeah, that's a tough question.
But you answered it. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You hoping this time go out so you don't have to answer another one?
Oh, this is a good question. What are some ways to heal from trauma?
Ooh. I wish I had that question. Wish I had that question.
So honestly, trauma is okay. First of all, trauma is something that's like any person can deal with it. Almost everybody has had some type of trauma in their life. I just want to put that out there because everybody feels like trauma has to be rape or it has to be abuse or it doesn't fall into a category. Like trauma does not mean that you specifically went through this one thing and that's it. So I just put that out there. Now for how to deal with trauma and how to heal with trauma is really important to focus on, at least from a professional standpoint. With my clients, it's kind of like it's not about the act of the details that happen. It's about the act itself that happened and learning to accept it and like not move on, but understand that this is a part of your life and this is a part of what you want them to be the person that you are, and it doesn't have to define you. Because a lot of people feel like rape victims, for example, like a lot of people victim blame, and victims blame themselves for putting themselves in a situation where that's not what it is. Like the other person couldn't control themselves. Like that's their issue. Right. That's not your issue. So like really understanding that, first of all, trauma can be anything, and second of all, the fact that when you learn to understand that it's not a defining moment for you, and that's not what your life is going to be written on, and that's not what, like when somebody looks at you, they're not going to see trauma, right? It's not like this is your defining moment, this is what it is for the rest of your life. That's not it. It's more about wanting to accept that this happened to me, and it didn't happen for me to be who I am, but it happened to me, and that's the other person's issue.
Right.
I need to learn how to understand it as what it is and understand that it happened and understand that it wasn't my fault, because a lot of people who have dealt with trauma, it's trauma because you feel like you did it to yourself. Like you put yourself in that situation. You're the reason that it happened. And it's not that. It's that person did it to you. And learning that part of it and then understanding like how do you heal is more like how do you get past anything in life? Like how do you, is it being with your friends? Is it being around people who love you? Is it having support? Is it doing stuff that you've never tried before? Like how does healing look for you, period? Right. And then accepting that this happened to you, and then you're gonna try to learn to move on and live your life without that weighing you down, right, kind of thing. So I feel like that's my perspective, at least, of how to heal from trauma and anything in general. Like,
yeah, for real. I think trauma, like I was actually like meditating and thinking about the word trauma, and like I had like puzzle pieces in my mind. I feel like sometimes like when people go through certain traumas, they think that it's like a chipped piece of a puzzle. So when you finish the puzzle and like your life is the entire puzzle and it's like a chip piece, they think that people are going to just stare at that chip piece. Like, so sometimes you might not even like say if you've been through something dramatic and you walk outside and somebody says, hello, how are you doing? You automatically think, oh, they're judging me for this. Like people kind of focus on that negative in that one spot instead of looking at the entire puzzle. You know what I mean?
Right. They project that onto people because they feel like that's all that people see, because that's all that they see for themselves. Like if they look into the mirror, they see that trauma. They see what happened to them, and they feel like they deserved it, rather than like this happened to me and it has nothing to do with me and everything to do with the person who put it onto me. You know what I mean? Like that's not your stuff, your wounds to heal from. Your wounds to heal from is that understanding that it happened to you and like how do I move forward. The other person is the person who needs to figure out how do I not do this again because I'm hurting people.
Yeah.
If you even get to that point.
Yeah. Right. Well, usually they don't.
Right, exactly.
They think it's
just going about their life. Right. It says, in a relationship, how do you think your partner can help you with any mental health concerns you may have? I think just be there for you, however you prefer as the person going through it. Some people don't need you always hovering over them. Maybe they need space, and if that's what they need, then you give them that. I feel like if it's just you listening to my rant, then that's one thing. So I just feel like just be there and tailor it to the person.
Yeah, it has to be tailor-made. It has to be tailor-made.
Yeah, definitely.
Problems always have to be,
Right.
That's very important. Huge.
Well, it's officially shot o'clock. Malika, you're not doing nothing.
She got hers in a flask.
Yeah.
Oh, you fancy.
You have to come prepared.
You gotta come ready.
Stay ready. You never have to get ready. All right, y'all. What are we cheering to?
Good health and having a better end of the year with all this nonsense. And having a great next year, 2021. I think it'll be a good one with all of this nonsense that's going on.
It better be.
Brighter days to come.
Right.
Definitely. Ooh.
You always gotta take that moment to like
come
back.
Now this one, them shot glasses.
Right.
Oh gosh.
All right, guys. Where can we find you? Let the people know what you have going on or coming up that they should be looking out for and supporting.
So it's basically the same thing.
Same thing.
Hit
her up. That's it.
I got you. I'm educated. I got you.
As you can see.
Well, y'all crazy. You can find me at Ricky R. Rover on Instagram. I have a Twitter, but I don't really be using it, so that's probably my only social media.
Clearly.
Yeah, I hate it. You can tell how I'm talking about it. I don't even like it. But yeah, that. And look out for some stuff coming out on Monday. I have a couple songs that I'm going to be dropping, and I think it's going to be wonderful. So I'm blessed and I'm happy, and I can't wait till Monday.
Ooh, hey, look out Monday. Well, thank y'all for coming today. Y'all made it such a good episode.
Definitely.
And I pray God gives y'all reasons every day.
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely nice. I appreciate you having us.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for riding it out with me on this heavy topic. Always remember to show yourself some love. We need you here. On a lighter note, please follow me if you don't already for any updates on the show, or even if you just want to talk. I'm no counselor, but I'm here and I am not afraid to pray. And it's been nothing but my pleasure, and fingers crossed, I'll see you next time. Bye.
And it's toxic, every motherfucker preaching nonsense. Not the righty type, it seem like niggas let her pop shit. My fans are pressing me like every week for me to drop shit. Can't say my depression is the reason.